It says we are live.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Come on, everybody's like, hello, all loud and high pitched. And what's up?
So, welcome to the live stream. Anyone who is here, it says there's 2 waiting, but I'm not sure if that's just me and Meadow.
One is me, actually.
Oh, okay, so it's
I'm
me
not
and Chloe.
Meadow's here. We're at a negative right now.
I mean, we could act like we're popular, and I could open up YouTube.
I will be one of those people also. Here we go.
I mean, we could act like we're.
Oh.
Whoa.
Sorry.
There's an
I had to
echo.
mute it.
Okay, so let's introduce let's all introduce myself.
I got this.
James.
all the
Guessing
all
a lot,
the
but I
ego.
think I got this.
I am Jace Maxwell. I am an author of Blood Type, which is in beta right now. It should be coming out, and I should be able to start editing it very shortly. And I'm also starting up my editing business shortly.
That's
He's
all
really
right.
good at that.
Soon. Yes.
He's really good at both things. But
He's good at all the things.
All right, next individual.
Who?
Anyone? How about Alec?
Oh, just a volunteer me first. God. Anyways, all right. I'm Alec Williams, also known as A.L. Williams. I'm the author of Immortal Scars, which is available on Amazon. Is an ebook and a paperback. My second book is available for pre-order. That's Hopeless Scars.
Woohoo! All right, Chloe, you're next.
So I am Chloe Alice Balkin, and I write steamy paranormal romance and also contemporary erotic romance. My latest publication was A Christmas Demon for Clara, and it is on Amazon. And then I also have a shifter series called Third Shift. And then I've got some fairy tale stuff and some really weird contemporary erotica.
You are my soul sister.
I'm many people's soul sister, but I will also be yours.
Yes.
You're up, Meadow.
I am Meadow Lamoreaux. I am an author tuber, kind of, even though I don't make any videos. I write urban fantasy, new adult stuff. It's hard to explain. And I'm not published yet, but I hope to be maybe by the end of next year. I will be looking for beta readers for my book in April.
Cool. Once you're done with the my edits.
Right. Once I'm done with Jace's edits, which I actually plan to start today, probably tomorrow though.
Cool.
So was Jace alpha reading for you?
Or
is it gonna be your second round of betas that you're going into?
He's like my developmental editor, I would say.
She's my guinea pig.
Yeah,
fair.
He's using me as practice.
He edited my second book. So
he's really good though, so no complaints of being a guinea pig.
And he's not just good with developmental edits, he's good with grammar. So
Yeah.
No, but he read my whole book and then we discussed it for like 3 hours and nailed down everything I wanted. And then we just figured out what I needed to do to make it better. And that's what I got to do now.
And now you have more of a series coming too.
Yeah, I know. We didn't just talk about this book. We talked about like 4 books into the future.
I don't even want to talk about that. I've got 20 because of Jace.
Yeah, I talked Alec into a second series.
You went from 8 books to like 32.
Ooh.
I just can't even.
And we have a Naked Firefly in the audience. Hey, Yana.
Hello.
We have a nude bug.
A nude bug. Or is that a noodle bug?
A noodle bug? Wow.
Uh, so, should we? Oh, what are we working on today?
I'm gonna finish the beta reading that I slacked on and didn't finish on time.
That's all right. It's
It's
beta
not
reading
okay.
on my book.
Yes. I was supposed to finish yesterday, and I did not finish yesterday.
It is fine because I am not starting yet.
Good.
Yet.
Yet.
That's a warning, Meadow.
Yeah, I'm getting on it.
What's your plan, Alec?
I am working on my contribution to KaShay's blog post on Black Love. So
Awesome, awesome.
it's called
Chloe?
Matriarch.
Oh,
Yeah.
I will hopefully be getting this newsletter drafted for our first sprint, and then I'll be drafting the sequel to A Christmas Demon for Clara.
nice. I am probably going to jump back into book 2, into a scene between Michael and Ben, because I haven't worked on anything today.
Hmm.
Me either.
Angst. All of the angst.
It is so angsty right now, but they're teenagers, and
Yes. Well, that's a whole new level of angst, though.
Okay,
Like,
you know what, Jace? I write about adults, and I have way more angst than you have.
my book started off so melodramatic, it was not even funny.
Well, Meadow, you haven't finished the book, but this is Ben and Michael's first meeting before since the end of book 1.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
So
just too
once you
much.
finish book 1, you're gonna understand why there's angst.
Yeah.
So dramatic.
All the drama.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all the gay drama.
I have my stuff ready. Let's do this thing.
Yes.
Okay, so we are ready.
Yep.
We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. And we're back. Hello,
Yeah.
peoples.
I just
How
need
did
to finish reading this chapter.
Oh. How did everybody do?
I got one newsletter done.
One
Yeah,
newsletter done.
well, it's kind of a two-part newsletter. So I got the first part done, and then things went a little awry. So
Things usually go awry in the writing world.
yes, they absolutely do. This time it was file size.
I got about a page and a half written, which was pretty good for 20 minutes for me. I handwrite, so.
I'm almost done with chapter 25.
Haha. Yeah,
So
don't worry.
I see a lot of people say that they handwrite. What when do you just like do the rough draft, handwritten, and then type it all out? I've always wondered what people's processes is with that.
Well, I can't type. I have finger issues.
Gotcha.
Well, I can type, but I can't like novel type. So I have to handwrite it and then dictate.
Got it.
Which that is just so fun to do.
And how is your dictation software? Because I hear a lot of people say that they struggle a lot with that. I can't do it. I panic anytime I try to tell a computer what I am thinking. I can only do it with my fingers.
Well, my dictation is just transcribing. So I'm just reading what's on the page.
Yeah, it's a lot easier that way.
Yeah, it's much easier that way. But dictation also is really, really screwy. So I have to dictate a sentence and then read the sentence and fix the sentence.
So it is exactly what I think it is, which is awful.
I think if you could learn to speak very, very clearly, it wouldn't be as bad because you wouldn't have as many corrections. But the dictation software, sometimes I feel like it hears whatever the heck it wants to hear.
Well, the thing with dictation software is the cheap, the free stuff. It's not designed to be as high quality. Like if you got Dragon, that's a different story because that's designed to learn your voice. But the other ones, the free ones, are kind of set to a certain way of saying certain words, and if your voice doesn't do it, it's not going to work.
And also, names are a problem.
I was just wondering about that. Do you like do a code or something for it? Like, do you use Dragon or do you use one of the
I use free stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Dragon actually does pick up names as long as they're not in other languages.
Well, and half my names are in other languages.
Yeah.
Spelling would also be an issue. I'm a cake decorator, and all day I see names that are not spelled the way that I want them to be spelled.
I have the head of the vampires of San Francisco is named Senji. He has been Send G, Send Cheese.
Oh, Send Cheese. I think that's a good name, though.
Well, I know, like, when I was using Dragon for that same problem with, like, Asian names and Mexican names, if you go into the software and put the word in and then say it, then it'll learn how to do it. Like, type it in to tell it, this is what this word sound coming out of my mouth is supposed to spell.
Right, you spell it out, and then you tell it that's what this sounds like. So when I say this sound, this is what I want on the screen.
And I've noticed the free software doesn't do that very well, but Dragon does.
Yeah, I've used Dragon. I used to have Dragon. Unfortunately, that was on my old computer, and it was an outdated version, which I cannot. I have the disk, and it will not install.
Oh, wow.
And I'm assuming they're not a company like Scrivener that is cool with giving you updates.
No.
No, because it's a $300 software. They're going to make as much money as they can.
Okay.
Yeah, Dragon is expensive.
It's a very it learns on its own. That's why it's so expensive.
Except for I had one problem with Dragon, and that was the word and. Every time it was and.
And is an A-N-D? Like,
Yeah.
Stand that? Oh, that is not a good word to have a problem with.
Well, Dragon also has a problem with disfluencies. So they, the only reason I know what Dragon does because I used to work at a place that dictated calls for the hard of hearing and deaf,
Oh, gotcha.
and it had a problem with disfluencies like all those words. So what they had to do is like, was actually hup, and then that was how he pronounced it.
At least you knew what that meant.
Yep. And I found myself after a while, because I was there for a year, starting to say it on phone calls.
That's exactly like the fact that I say lol when I'm speaking to people. Like, I don't even mean this to come out of my mouth. I've just seen it and written it so many times. And now
when I say
laughing, I can no longer laugh like a normal human being. I just say lol.
Like it's like when I say it's actually him there. So I actually said that once, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "I didn't say nothing."
Did you say in him?
Yes. Oh, but it knows how to say curse words and like genitals. I actually had to caption a sex phone call between two old people. That was fun. And it wasn't just any sex phone call. It was a dominatrix. The guy was totally telling her to spank him. And I was like, oh my God, guys, you do not pay me enough for this.
They're speaking and you don't have to watch.
But I had to actually repeat it. That was the problem. I had to repeat it in a room full of my coworkers. They can't hear the call.
Oh.
I was like, $11 an hour is not enough for this shit. You know how much these people get paid?
So this reminds me, my grandpa is a pastor, and he used to say the word bathroom to his grandkids as bathroom, like with the F's. And he was trying to fix that. Like, he didn't want to say it like that anymore because all of his grandkids were old enough that he didn't need to say it. And so I remember one time he was giving a sermon and he said, "Open your Bibles to Matthew." And then he couldn't stop. And I'm like, "Oh, Grandpa, I'm so sorry."
Oh, I mispronounce words all the time, and it's like no matter how hard I try, they don't come out correctly, no matter what I do. But yeah, like I said, curse words in Dragon were fun.
But yeah, the punctuation stuff is also fun.
Oh yeah,
you have to speak it.
Yeah.
I used to start doing that in phone calls too, where I'd end a sentence with period.
Next time I do dictation, I'm just gonna say all the words and then add in the punctuation later.
Oh, you know how hard it is to say ellipsis?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it just comes out wrong.
Well, because the only dictation that I've tried so far is the one that's built into Google Docs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say ... it'll put in an ellipses for you.
Yeah. See, we actually had to say, like, it was designed in Dragon to say ellipses, and as long as you said it the same way every single time, it would put the 3 dots in.
The one that drives me crazy is that they don't have quotation marks. You can't say quotation or quotation mark or anything.
Yep.
You have to say whatever word you choose. So I usually just say quote, and then you have to do the find and replace.
Oh God, I hate that. That's why I don't like. If I ever dictate, it'd have to be Dragon because I would just throw my computer across the room.
When I'm dictating dialogue, I have my hand over by the shift quote, and I use that. So I type the quotes, then say the line.
You just can't.
Well, then it also, when you have to say quote, and it says the word quote, it doesn't capitalize the first word of your sentence because quote is technically the first word of your sentence.
Hey, sense seriousness.
And I'm not even going to try to say that. It's way too many S's.
Just say Sen. Nicknames are good. Sen.
Yeah, son.
Hello,
I'll just do
Sen.
that.
All you have to do is be Nagini from Harry Potter.
Oh God.
Just say sense seriousness.
I think Alec is done with you.
I'm just done. You find out very quickly how bad you are at enunciating words when you work with dictation software.
Yes. But you also learn how you don't have to be quite as loud and you don't have to be animated.
Nope, actually that'll mess it up a lot of times.
I think that's why it messes up for me most of the time, is because I'm generally a pretty animated speaker.
Yeah, for it to be the most effective, you need to be monotoned with no inflections whatsoever. Like, you need to sound like a robot. I mean, I'm naturally monotone, so it's easier for me, but like for people with like you, Meadow, you have to try extra hard.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It is possible, though. I've met plenty of people when I worked there who were like you, and they learned how to do it.
Hey, I'll just pretend I'm reading the Bible, because apparently when I read the Bible, I get super monotone.
You're just trying to like emphasize the importance.
And in my gamer days, I used to play a lot of WoW back when that was a thing, in the early days of WoW. But I was always a guild master, but I was never allowed to lead raids because when I did, I don't know how, but my voice was too soothing, and people wouldn't like be able to. By people, I mean like pubescent boys would not be able to follow what I was saying. They would get like lulled by my mom voice.
Gotta love that mom voice.
They actually re-released WoW Classic.
I heard.
And my husband's been playing it, so I get that.
Yeah, my one of my best friends I met through WoW, and she did that month just to do it, but she said that without the social aspect that like kept us in it for 5 years, it just isn't the same. It's just killing pigs.
I don't know. He enjoys it, and he's commandeers my laptop regularly to use it because his laptop is too old and can't handle it.
See, I never got into WoW. I played
That's for the best.
Final Fantasy XI, and I played Guild Wars.
Sims, you probably shouldn't be paying WoW.
Yeah, Sims is. I need to not turn that on. Turning that on is 3 weeks of my life gone.
Was that Sims that you're talking about?
Sims, yeah.
Yeah, I was really big on Sims 2. I wasn't big on 3, and I really don't like 4, so that worked out well for me because I don't sell my life to it anymore. But I was really into playing with genetics because that is who I am as a person. I made a foot baby, and I was very proud of myself. A foot baby is if you inbreed for 10 generations. You have a chance of getting a foot baby, and it is literally a ball of feet.
That's creepy.
That sounds really interesting.
Wow. Well then. See, I played Forsaken World for a little while before I was like, nope, I'm definitely not a gamer because I got bored for a few years. It was fun, but it sucked up a lot of my time because it was just addictive.
Mm-hmm.
I have The Sims 4 on my PlayStation, and it sucks to play it on the console, and so when we get our gaming computer in a month or so, I'm going to get it on there instead.
Building would suck using a controller.
Yeah.
Oh, it does suck.
I think it's just a different game when it's on a console. I played it on PlayStation 2, whichever one that would have been, which probably would have been Sims 2 as well. And I just thought it was a different game. It was a more like complete the goals than have fun and do whatever.
Right, and like you can't turn cheats on, otherwise you don't get achievements. And so like, if I want to put on like the move objects cheat, I can't use it because then I won't be able to do any achievements in gameplay. And it's so annoying.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, on the PC, we've had the gallery since the game opened. Console just got it. They just got access to it.
Yeah, and I also can't access it anyways because I don't have PlayStation Plus right now. So, yeah, I'm just not gonna do any more Sims on the console. I'm just gonna get it on the computer, and I can get like custom content and stuff because you can't do that on the console either.
I do occasionally use it to design characters. And like occasionally I will to do houses. I know people use a bunch of different apps for it now, but that is something that I do occasionally still use The Sims for.
I want to use it to build the townhouse that my characters live in, but there's always that problem of I get in there and I don't get out.
Right. I just never enter play mode. I enter long enough to like take those screenshots of them having a couple little interactions and then I'm done. And that has worked well for me, but I understand.
Yeah, I enjoy playing The Sims. I really, I played a lot of Sim City back in the day.
That one was good too.
But yeah, my playstyle is achievement hunter. So
I like doing challenges.
Hmm?
I like doing the challenges.
Back in Guild Wars, I was going for like the impossible achievements, and I was getting them. The ones that take like, months of daily 18-hour days to do.
Otherwise, they take you years.
Mm-hmm. But as far as achievements go, how about we achieve some more words?
I would love to achieve some more words.
What's that?
Or any words at all, because I haven't done any words yet since I got home.
So let me get that out. And we will mute ourselves.
Nah, who needs that?
And we'll start writing in 3, 2, 1, go. And we're done. How did people do that time? Oh, we have a Noelle.
I had to give her a bath because she got naked again.
Again?
Yes, but this time I had to bathe her.
Fun.
So I'm gonna go get her dressed really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Say hi.
Hey, Noelle.
She's like, I don't want to be wrapped in this towel. Say hi. Okay, whatever, fine. Whatever.
Classic Noelle. How did everybody else do?
I wrote 611 words.
Whew. That is good.
Yeah.
That's like 3 pages for me. I only got another page.
Handwriting takes a little bit longer though, or it does for me at least. I can't write really fast. It could just be the generation, but yeah, I can only write so fast by hand, but I can type like 40 words a minute.
I definitely cannot do that. How about you, Alec?
I got just couldn't continue writing that because I was getting a block. So I went to the Facebook post about finding people of color write gay romance. So I'm making that list right now.
Sweet. Yeah, I have to stop for a bit because my eyes have started stinging.
Joy.
Yeah. It's what happens when I have a huge lack of sleep. It's like every screen and everything that I look at is making my eyes feel like dry and bloodshot.
Joy.
Firefly just got off the phone.
Naked Bug just got off the phone. I'm just gonna keep saying
The
that.
Noodle Bug.
Funny. The Noodle Bug. Do you not have a website?
I was trying to figure out why Meadow was trying to signal us with a sweater with a pug on it, but now I'm thinking it was for the small one.
Yeah, I was trying to get her to come over and get her clothes on because she ran to the other side of the bed where I can't reach her. Let's get your sweater on.
Face palms from the Noodle Bug.
Yeah, I need to figure out some way to get Noelle to stop taking all of her clothing off. And then after her clothing, her diaper, and then making messes.
Well then.
Because it's definitely a problem now.
How long is the piece that you're working on, Sen? Because that redoing is... Ooh. I can understand if it's a short story, but for me, redoing would be like redoing over 100,000 words. So
I will, if I don't like the beginning of a story, I will absolutely rewrite it. And if I'm under I would say probably like 15,000 is my max on that.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know. If it doesn't have that right start to it, then I get halfway through it and I'm like, none of this makes any sense because it didn't start right. That's the only time I'll do that. Like if I'm in the middle of a manuscript and there's a scene that doesn't work, I say, oh, I'll just fix that later. But if it's the very beginning, I really need it to start right for me to be able to keep writing it.
When I started this book, I had it planned for a certain chapter to be at the beginning, and then I started writing it, and I was like, this is boring, and so I skipped it, and so then my inciting incident was chapter 1.
Oh, well, I will frequently write the entire manuscript and then delete the first scene because I do have that problem a lot where I will start with something boring and then like the next scene is really exciting. And I'm like, oh, this is a better place to start. So that I'm okay with. It's when like I'm literally the characters aren't right or whatever it is that you know, or like how their meeting is wrong because I write romance. So if their meeting is wrong, then it's destined to fail. So I will delete scenes, but I will try not to have to rewrite anything at the very beginning.
I know with Meadows, she deleted that first chapter, and with the inciting incident, was not just in the new first chapter; it was in like the first page. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're going right in, aren't we?
We're just jumping
Yeah,
right in.
that.
Yeah, I couldn't get in, because this book was my nano project, and I couldn't get into the first chapter. I was like, if I'm this bored writing it, then the reader's going to be this bored reading it. So I just didn't write it. I just was like, I'll come back to it later. But then I never went back to it later, and I just made chapter 2, chapter 1 instead.
Yeah. I my Shifter series, I initially had like on the first book, the very first book of the series, the main characters, I had like an introductory scene of both of them, and then the meeting, and then when I read it to do edits, I read those 2 scenes, and I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't need any background information. It's Shifter. Like, if you're reading a Shifter novel, you already know how Shifter novels work. I can literally just start where they meet, and that's where it starts. It starts with him walking into the room that she's sitting in. Like, I don't need anything else here.
What type of shifter are they?
So in my series, I don't write like the specific animals that are like really big. I do have bear shifters, and wolf, and dragons, but in that first book, he is a jaguar and she is a cougar. But in my mythos for it, some people are born that way, and then some people are but don't realize it because their mothers are not shifters. And so they're called tabbies in the series. And so that's what she is. So she has no idea that she's a shifter until he meets her, because I'm not really big on the shifter stuff where like there's so much of it where the guy is a shifter and the girl is a human. And I'm okay with like some of that happening, but I feel like 90% of it is that. And like every single book in the series is that. Like only men can be shifters. It's really weird. So they're both shifters.
Only men can be shifters. What are you talking about?
It's the weirdest. I don't know. It's a really weird trope in the shifter genre. And obviously it's not every single book, but like there are some authors that I'm really big fans of that is every single one of their stories. Is it's like a group of like bad boy motorcycle shifters or whatever, and then like the women who are just humans, and I don't like that, or their brothers or whatever. I don't know. It's dumb. So in my books, most of the characters who end up together are shifters. I do have plans for one non-shifter eventually, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I know a lot of the reason why that happens is because the human girls are supposed to be the authors. Like they're writing what they're attracted to.
Self-insertion, yes. That's not me.
I have humans, but it's like I also have supernatural creatures. Like each couple is either a human or a supernatural creature. Except for book 1, they're both supernatural creatures. Yeah.
Now the shifters I have don't come in until the second book, and they're a family of were hyenas.
Oh, I like that. I have exactly one hyena, and she's a stripper. But she was originally with my bear, but like is the like ex-girlfriend of the bear.
Bear shifters are hilarious.
I love my bear shifter. I just couldn't. I don't like when it's an entire series of bear shifters. I really like to have like a very diverse, and I think it's kind of a cheat, but it helps me figure out my character's personality. It's a lot less work if they're all different animals because I can just give them the personality of that animal.
Well, I know like with series that I've read, the entire series was different types of shifters. There was even one that was a wolf shifter, a bear shifter, and one was a cat feline one of some kind, and it was a triad. So it was interesting.
Oh,
So now I'm just picturing with
that's really
all these
popular
different
in the
animals
dragons.
being,
Yeah.
it's just like Zoobly Zoo,
Yeah.
Right?
So
but erotic.
that's your second book in the series. What are the? I'm assuming you have paranormals in the first book as well. What is the series?
It is, I guess I could basically sum it up by saying it is Love Simon trying to happen in the Shadowhunters world.
Okay. I actually was I didn't like the Shadowhunters, but I read all of the books anyways. Not but the City of Bones, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that sort of like all the paranormal is there
Mm-hmm.
and it's all hidden. I've got a few different types of twists on it. Like the humans have what's called the veil, which basically filters out a lot of the stuff. And as long as they have the veil, they can't get touched by most of the supernatural stuff. So the supernaturals are actually like protecting the veils of the humans to keep them safe.
So the veils are on most humans.
Yes.
That's how it works. And then there's just a few humans that don't have it, and that's
Yeah, if you lose your veil, it's gone. And
then you're demon prey or supernatural
basically.
prey. Yeah. I like it.
Oh, night, Naked Firefly.
I would contribute to the conversation, but Noelle's having a good time and being very noisy about it.
Oh yeah, as she is normally want to do.
She's running back and forth across the room, laughing and screaming.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to, well, semi-looking forward to going through and doing heavy edits on a 104K novel.
That's a big one. And is that the one that you're the paranormal one?
Yeah, that's book one.
Okay.
It's the one that I'm reading right now.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gotten pretty good feedback on it. Good feedback on like people liking it and good feedback on things that can make it better.
Oh, that's good. It's nice to get writers or at least people who know how to like actually give you good direction on it instead of just saying, "Oh, I didn't like this, but I don't know why and I don't know how to fix it."
I think it's good to have writers read your work because they can actually be like, hey, this didn't work, and here's why, and here's what you can do to make it better.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why I prefer writers.
I've seen a lot of people argue that it's better to have beta readers who are not writers, and I could not disagree more strongly about that. I would rather have somebody who actually can give me some direction with it or understand like why something that's broken is broken instead of saying, I don't know what's wrong with it, I just think it's wrong.
Well, I know why. It's because, like, depending on the writer you get, some people can get a little pretentious and be like, trying to force you to write in their voice. That's one of the reasons why they kind of came out with
that. Could be a problem. Yeah, beta read is not a line edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, even editors have that problem. It's just a matter of learning what line not to cross.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm going to
beta
get
reader.
a nap.
Okay.
Oh,
say bye-bye.
There's a child.
Bye. Bye-bye. Noelle, say bye-bye. No, nothing.
Yeah, like when Jace edited my book, he literally pulled me to the side and asked me what I wanted to do, so that he wouldn't change my voice.
And that's my editing style too. Is that I do a full read through first, just to find out what the story, where the author is going with it, and then I talk to them about what their vision is for the story, what they want to accomplish, so that when I go in with my edits, I can actually I can try and bring their own voice forward.
That's smart.
Yeah.
And
he
you
helped
just heard
story
my
a lot.
sales
it
pitch.
didn't buy his services.
I will use a few beta readers if I'm doing a bigger project, but a lot of my smaller, especially like writing paranormal romance, a lot of it, especially with the shifter stuff, you really don't need. I don't know, but it's like 30,000. I don't need anything too complicated from it. But I have one person that does most of my reads for me, and I do it for her, and we're both really good at like knowing what each other needs and knowing like line editing is just like literally where are the typos, where is the sentence that is worded badly. So we work really well together, but we've also been beta reading for each other for years. So
I think that's the thing is I only have technically I only have three beta readers, which is Meadow, Jace, and I can't even think. Miriam. And Mirren, yeah. And like Jace like doubles as a beta editor, and so does Meadow doubles as a proofreader and a beta reader. So it's like you don't need 5,000 different people reading the book.
You don't. And actually I feel like there's that point where you have too many people reading it and people start giving you contradictory feedback, and it's hard at that point. Like you always, with the feedback for beta readers, you always have to be careful anyways, because it's it's always just advice, but like when you're getting contradictory advice, it makes it that much more difficult to figure out what you should actually change and what you shouldn't change. So I don't think there's a value in doing more than like 5 beta readers. I know some people that will send it to like 10, 15, and I just think it's
I tried doing that with my first book.
You really need to, I think, hire an editor at that point. Like if you're really thinking you need this many eyes on it, you just need to have a professional take a stab at it.
I did that with my first book, and I was getting those contradictory ideas, and I wasn't sure what to do. So I kind of just said, I'm just going to do the best I can.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because I have a really good editor that doesn't charge me anything because he's using me as practice.
You better enjoy that, because one day he might be like, no.
I am enjoying it while it lasts.
But yeah, part of the problem with your first book, Alec, was you had a group of beta readers that was just not familiar with A, the genre, and B, like anything gay.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like I should have seriously, like I was looking really hard for cis men to read it, and I found one, but he was so, like he belonged in the 1800s instead of the 2000s. So it was like really hard for me to find beta readers that worked.
I had that problem with my first shifter book because I had a couple of people who offered to beta read but didn't read shifter stuff. And so I got a lot of complaints about this doesn't make any sense. We need more background, but it's something where like you kind of like shifter is very particular in the fact that like the writers really don't provide a lot because there are so many similarities within the genre that after a reader gets through like the first couple books in it, they don't need that stuff anymore. And you just gotta suffer through it for the first couple. So I had tons of feedback that just didn't apply because the genre I was writing, it didn't make sense for.
Well, that's the thing is I had very similar feedback from one person who was even a professional editor, because I happened to get someone who was. And they wanted me to do a giant info dump on an entire religious group of people. And I'm like, dude, this is romance. The readers don't care.
That's the other thing. With romance, you have a lot more leeway than with some other genres. You certainly don't want like a sci-fi reader reading your romance just because the sci-fi reader is going to expect so much in certain areas.
Yeah.
And like nothing in the actual like romance development.
Yeah,
so,
and
you gotta be really careful with that. And you said you're writing and that's something where I would never like pick up something. I would beta read it, but I would never offer criticism on the actual sexual relationship because I don't read that stuff and I don't know enough about it to be able to like know
I
that my
get you.
criticism was valid. So
Yeah, it's good because I
I'll
had
say stuff like that,
I
but
had a
just don't
woman.
have feedback.
I had a woman who read my book, and she'd never read the genre, and her first comment was like, "Why are these guys talking so much about their cocks?" And I turned around and I'm like, "You do not understand how men's minds work, do you?"
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you're delusional.
with that, you also have the problem of whether you are writing to gay men or if you're writing to the straight women demographic. That I feel like they're looking for two different things there.
I write to gay men. The straight women, they can kiss my ass.
Right, and that's absolutely where I'm going with that. Like, it's, whichever you write to, you can't expect the other to read it and understand, because like I feel like you have that really big difference that like straight women, I don't understand this because I'm a gay woman, so this is all like really weird to me anyways, but straight women I feel like have a very specific what they want their gay men to be, and that's not the world of gay men. Just like,
well, you should see the impreg section.
Lesbian porn doesn't make any sense to me because this isn't how lesbians actually are.
Right? I had an argument with a straight guy about this. I'm like, this is not how lesbians work, dude. And he's like, don't ruin my fantasy. I'm like, your fantasy's not realistic. Get over yourself.
Yeah, the straight women that write the male romance and stuff, they soften things so much.
Right? And like, there's a few who don't, but most of those are the pansexual women. Like, they're the ones that are part of the queer community.
Does that mean I'm going to do a better job with my male because I'm bi?
Probably because you've had exposure to gay men.
Yeah, it's mostly just being exposed to gay men.
Plus, I also have Jordan that I can ask.
Yes.
True.
He's as queer as fuck, so you should be fine.
I definitely, because I write straight sex scenes, I definitely I have a couple of friends of gay men and also straight men who I will absolutely bring all of my penis questions to, because I'm like, I actually don't know how to interact with this thing, and most of the time I can be,
you don't know how to interact with the penis.
It's like, what would the position of this hand job be?
Yes, the person that is touching the penis has to actually want to touch the penis.
Yes.
A hand job is not reaching with one finger and barely touching it, going ew, 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 ew.
Right? I mean, well, it's the same thing with me. Like, me being a trans man, I don't have the equipment, so I have to have Jace explain some of the science behind it, because I understand some of it, but not all of it. So,
and isn't it great having somebody you can actually talk to about it? Because that's one of the things that drives me crazy in author groups where people are asking these questions to the general public. Like, just find a friend that you can talk to about penises.
See, I have Jace to talk to about penises. I talk to Meadow about vaginas. I talk to my friend Marion about BDSM. We're all good.
Yeah. We're all good, man.
Easier.
Yeah, my husband is pan, and he has some experience with various different things, so I can ask him about most things. And he's like my one-stop encyclopedia.
The one-stop shop for gay. Now that's something that should be the publishing company. One-stop shop for gay.
I support that.
Yeah, but like my one of the biggest issues I have, like I'm always like raging to Jace about this, is impreg. I can't do it. I just can't.
It weirds me out so much.
I'm like, and the thing is, they don't realize how transphobic it is. Like, it's extremely transphobic.
But in all fairness, I feel like a lot of the that is marketed to straight women.
It really is.
Homophobic. Like, you don't.
Even the gay men write a lot of their stories knowing their fan base is straight women.
And that's if you know that is your audience, then you just write to your audience. And I'm not, certainly, I don't judge anybody for writing to their audience. Like I said, I write straight romance, and I know that I cannot write FF because my fan base will not read.
Yeah, FF is a hard one, which
Yeah.
sucks.
And I have friends who are constantly like, why aren't you writing lesbians? And I'm like, because there's no market. I mean, there is a market, but it's so saturated. And the women who are already reading my stuff do not want to read that. So
yeah.
No,
and I've also noticed that like most of the time, I mean, this is just my understanding of lesbians. I could be totally wrong. Lesbians tend to like the more sensual stuff, less the sexy stuff, from what I've learned. So that's one of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you've got a beta reader for book 9, though.
Huh? Me? What?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to beta read my lesbian book?
Oh, I mean, if you need a lesbian to beta read for you, I can.
Need the lesbians, the lesbinims. I love saying that word, lesbinims.
I do know how scissoring works.
Awesome. I mean, I know how it works too, but
not very effectively.
No, really not. This guy was so happy about scissoring, though. He was like, "Come on!" I'm like, "Really, dude? Really?
Yeah.
You try it."
I hope that you guys knew when you brought me into this that the conversation was going to go in a direction like this, and if not, I apologize.
Oh, if I'm here, that's what happens.
Okay, good.
So,
I am actually more than happy that it went that way.
You're like, I'm good.
Scissoring.
Naughty boys. So.
Yeah. You're a Philly naughty boy. That's what it is.
There is not a straight person in the room.
Nope.
Awesome. And in my streams, we try to keep it, not too graphic. So, but also I'm absolutely the instigator on conversations like this, and it is my partner who has to keep things back on track. So she is not here to keep me in check, and I apologize.
Meadow,
welcome.
Meadow instigates about 50% of the time, and she is the lowest instigator of this group.
Yep. I am the inciting incident for a reason.
Perfect.
And I promise my name is not sexual.
Yeah, we all changed our names back.
Yeah,
we did.
And I was like, well, I'm the only one in here with my name.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I didn't even think about that.
But I didn't want to change it.
Yeah, I'm the inciting incident. Meadow is the climax. What are you, Jace? I forgot which one you were.
I wasn't there during that.
He's the verbal maestro.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And then Cash is the... What is Cash? The plot twist?
Plot twist.
Yeah, plot twist. Yeah.
And then Amber is the side plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why that happened is because I was totally instigating on Stewie. I think it was Stewie and Aphrodite's stream. I was totally instigating that whole thing.
Yeah. So Alec just goes there.
I just do.
Perfect.
And I am the innuendo master.
I sometimes say things that are sexual that I don't mean to be sexual.
But
it happens. Like your sword fight? Yeah.
Like my sword fight. I was reading I had dictated a chapter that was like the big battle of my book, and they were sword fighting. And then I was reading the sentences, they got messed up and like saying what they were supposed to say, and they're like, "Ooh, he eyed my sword." And I'm like, "Oh my god."
You want to know something? Okay, so there's a book called My Cocky Cellist and My Cocky Valet. And I'm just kind of like, that means so many things.
Is it the author who tried to copyright the word cocky? Or is this a different author?
This is a different author. This person's name is Cole McCade. But
okay, so not the devil. What is her name? Anyways, it doesn't matter.
I heard that conversation. I still don't know what her name is.
I know it when I see it, but yeah. Anyway, sorry I interrupted. What were you saying about him?
But I just love the titles because of the double meaning. Because these are male romances and they're explicit, so
yeah.
I love it.
So are we interested in doing another sprint?
We really should.
We probably should.
All right, I will get that set up.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. I'm just looking through a book and realized this author wrote a lesbian romance, and I'm like, what?
What?
Didn't know that.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's make some words happen.
Whew.
All
Words.
right. We're going to start in a 3, a 2, a 1, a go. And we're back.
Woo.
I try and do that slow volume increase so I don't freak people out.
I appreciate that.
Watch too many other streams with people in the audience being like, "Ah, I'm scared."
I hear a lot of warnings about the obnoxious beep that's going to happen, and I always think, well, just don't beep obnoxiously then. Just mute that. We don't need to hear that.
My alarm every time always makes me jump. I'll be like right in the scene reading or writing or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like beep beep beep. I'm like, oh god.
The app I use as a timer has settings on it, so I just have it at the gentlest setting.
Well, with StreamYard, you can choose not to share the sound, which is wonderful. So that doesn't freak people out.
Yeah, it's just me that gets freaked out.
Just her.
And that's all that matters.
Yep.
So I only got a couple lines written because my eyes just stung so bad. So I turned on my humidifier, see if that's gonna help out.
My eyes get really stingy when I'm tired.
Yeah, that's where I am right now. I got 4 hours of sleep last night, and I've been up for about 18 hours.
Sir,
Linda.
you need to sleep.
I do need to sleep. I'm hoping to get some tonight and some sleep.
Don't we all? How do I know if this author's black? God damn it.
I'm on chapter 27.
Sweet.
I finished a scene.
I was hoping to finish the scene that I was on, and it just did not happen.
I am still going through this list of black authors and black books because I'm making 2 separate lists.
Yeah,
Oh.
you kind of hit the jackpot with that.
Yeah, I really did. I didn't realize there was as many as there were.
He found the right group and asked the right question and just got bombarded with answers.
Oh. And then I found that website, the Queer in Color website, which is awesome. I put my books in there. Well, my one book, because you can't list a book that's pre-order. This is one of their things. But so, and when you publish yours, because Ben is a person of color.
True story, bruh.
Yeah, bruh.
My main character is not a person of color, but I have a lot of supporting characters that are.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even offer it to you, because it said that they have to be main characters.
I mean, they'll be more important in like book 2 onward. So
I don't know if they'll accept Ben, though.
He's still a person of color.
I know he is.
Don't argue with me. He's still a person of color.
He is.
Well,
He
the
is,
same
God damn it.
the same issue that he experiences, like in his world, is what the book might experience in the real world.
Right.
Well, people need to just get the fuck over that because he's black. Grandma's black, okay? I hate my ex Ben, which is hilarious. He's also biracial. He gets that shit all the time, and I'm like, dude, he's black. Let it go.
Yeah, I like complex issues with characters. Like Ben is white passing black. He's straight passing closeted gay.
He's just passing all day long.
Yeah.
But there's a struggle on that side too. I mean, it's not as apparent, but there is a struggle on that side.
There's a struggle with passing with something that you're not completely, like, being gay and passing straight. Like, you can't be free, can't be yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the whole not passing as black is that there's this level of not being accepted in either community. It happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds out near the beginning of the book that he's supernatural and passing as human.
Yep. So he's just passing. You're just cruel, okay? Jay, you're just an
That's
asshole.
one of the things that I like with writing shifters, for as like fluff as it is. It's also like if you want to deal with stuff like that, you can. Like you can, or like anything paranormal, you can like deal with diversity issues in however you choose to, and it's nice to be able to address it if you want, like however you need to.
Yeah, my let's see. Ben's got his diversity struggles in the first 2 books. Plus, in the second book, one of my were-hyenas is a trans woman. But because of the way hyenas work, where the women are the bigger, badder, stronger, and they also have a pseudopenis.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is normal. That's actually not normal, but that's a hyena thing.
That is a hyena thing.
It's actually a clitoris, right? If I remember
Yeah.
correctly. It's been ages since I've looked into any of this, but yeah.
But it's also, well, it is, but it isn't, because the male hyena has to actually insert inside of that.
Oh.
And it's also the birth canal.
Okay, so it's like
You learned so much today.
this is a terrible comparison, but it's almost like a hemorrhoid then. I realize that's like the most disgusting comparison ever, but it would be like that sort of like it would be like the internal system is partially outside then?
Yeah, basically.
I love this conversation.
I'm sorry that I do this.
It's great. I love it so much. You make me happy.
Interesting.
So she is on female hormones, but because she's a hyena, it's making her bigger and stronger instead of more humanly female. But she doesn't feel the dysphoria because her hyena side, that's how she feels. Because she feels like she knows she's female because she is the bigger, badder among her brothers.
That is so awesome. I just want to, like, aside, I just found a book called The Queer Trade. So I just keep thinking of like one of those auctions where everybody's queer.
Also, I'm dealing with another topic with them, is that the mom of the family is actually from Africa, and I'm making sure to make it clear that she is beautiful and she is midnight black. She is not mixed with white. And it's one of those things that has been got pointed out to me ages ago, and I just see it cropping up as, in order to be beautiful, you have to have white mixed into you.
Yep.
And it's just like, nope.
That's why I love that and I can't think of the actress's name off the top of my head, but that's why I loved that they cast, that's going to drive me crazy, the woman they did in American Gods to play the black goddess that's in it. Because she is extremely dark-skinned and is gorgeous, and I thought it was great that they did that. I can't think of her name, and it's going to drive me crazy. But yeah, I think it's really important to put that out there now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just love all of this stuff.
Is it the Queen of something because her name got cut off?
I mean, she was the queen of
the
something.
Queen of something.
The actress that I'm seeing that's a goddess that is black is Yetide
Baraki. And she is, yeah, I love her.
Is that how you say it? Say it again.
Yedidi? Or that is how I've heard
Yedidi.
it.
Oh,
I've never
I like
actually
that
heard her say it before, but that is what I've heard
I don't know.
People say it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to say
I
it
like
based
that
on
name.
how it's spelled, but the way you said it is cool.
We're just gonna go with the way you say it.
Yes.
I'll say everything really cool ways, and then it'll be my pronunciation is king. But I also with in my shifters with the thing about the shifters who don't realize they're shifters, I also kind of address the issue of people passing, because that's like one of the big deals, and in it, society, like basically shifters are banned. They've lost their citizenship, and so they're basically just transients in their own country, and so the ones who are passing as human are definitely in a weird situation there, and it's a struggle for them. And so I have like, there's an issue with them having like a high suicide rate and stuff like that, because like once you find out that you're a shifter, you know that your life is, you know, if anybody finds out, it's gonna, you know, your life is basically over in that scenario. So
I like
I
that.
do address it as, you know, politely as I can, but that is part of their society, that like they're even a lot of the shifters refer to them as roadkill, because
Oh, I like that too.
yeah, they're probably going to either be killed or kill themselves.
Joy.
Yeah, my stuff, I try to like write really happy, steamy erotica romps, and instead I write social commentary.
Guys, my books are pretty much allegories for mental illness. So
Yes. I have a book. It's gonna be, this is awful because it's my novel for next Christmas. But it's Olivia's Confectionery Delights, which is deliberate because the initials are OCD, and she has a massive OCD in it.
oh god, that's great. That's great.
And I have massive OCD, so the character comes from my heart.
You're like, that's a self-insert, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah, well, I feel, especially with that particular mental disorder, that it's, you know, OCD is treated so differently from what it actually is, that I find that I feel like it's really important to have it represented properly.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with like PTSD. Like most of my characters have it, and it's not represented properly. Like I remember running into a conversation in the romance genre. I don't know if it's happening in other, like the lesbian or the straight, but I know it's happening in male, where people are complaining about lack of communication in the romance novels. And I'm like, sometimes that happens when you have mental illness, guys.
Yeah,
you guys recognizing that.
My long-term roommate was a Marine and did a few tours in Afghanistan as a sharpshooter. So he's got like massive PTSD problems. He's also like having a big struggle right now with VA to even like get seen about it, which VA also tried to kill him a couple years ago because he had cancer, and they refused to see him for 8 months. And his private doctor was like, yeah, you would have been dead. We need to take your thyroid within the next 2 months. You're going to die. Wow. So
yeah, I have the VA health insurance, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he has to have private insurance. There's no way he would get, especially again, because he had a thyroidectomy, he wouldn't ever get proper treatment for anything. And he was like, when we became roommates, he was in a really bad situation of drinking way too heavily and doing way too many drugs. That was like a mess that I had to deal with. So, addressing PTSD properly is something that is very close to my heart. Thank you.
Yeah, and I also address it outside of being in the military, because it's more prominent outside of the military than people think.
Yeah, he just, that happens to be where he got it from. But yes, absolutely. There are so many ways that you can get it.
Yeah, and like my main character in my first book is an ex-slave because he's immortal. So talk about PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
My main character deals with PTSD in the beginning of my book because she has a really traumatic event that happens to her. So I try to deal with it too. I deal with the same way that I dealt with mine. So it's like very much my experience. So
yeah. I just realized the character that I'm currently writing, one of them has PTSD. He's a demon who was tortured basically in order for his family to get good crops for 500 years.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so he's also a tortured soul, but this is at the end of the day a bubble fluff romance. So it will be addressed, but I do thankfully this is the second book of a 4-book series, so I'll be able to continue to address it and the fact that she can help, but she can only help so far. So they'll have their happy ending in this one, but I look forward to being able to write that in a year things are not perfect with them, but they're working on it.
And that's reality,
Yeah.
But with my books, some of it is I think people are going into romance expecting one type of thing, which is it's typical in the romance genre because it's villagers with pitchforks.
Yeah, romance is really hard if you want to buck conventions at all. It's hard to do that in romance.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of that person who's I don't care, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I'm more about learning self-love and finding romance, love, but also finding self-love, because you can't love someone unless you love yourself. So that's something I'm trying to learn myself. So that's what I'm focused on in my books. So.
By the way, I looked up how to say that actress's name, and she says it Yatida.
Oh, okay.
So, fun fact.
Okay, Meadow.
I want to know.
Whoa, that was weird.
What?
We just got Skycam in Meadows.
I was sitting up and sorry.
Wow.
Okay,
Meadow.
I'm a little bit insecure because I've got major boobage going on today, but I don't want to put another shirt on, so
You're just I can't do this right now with my boobs.
they look really nice, but I mean,
You're no.
He's like, hello there.
Oh goodness.
So we have done the last sprint, and I'm going to end the broadcast so we can do our sign-offs. We can continue to chat offline if we want to. But I think we've only got one person besides us. So
Yeah, pretty much.
hello, that one person.
Sorry, things got weird.
Oh, things always get weird.
Yeah.
With our group, things are always run on different tracks.
I'm pretty sure everybody has a warning, preparing themselves before they come into our sprint.
People who watch us regularly, they know what they're getting themselves into.
Yep.
This was actually tame.
Right.
Yep. Really, it was.
So anyway, I am Jace Maxwell, author of Blood Type and Children of the Moon and whatever else comes next in the series. And an editor. Hire me. Next person.
I guess I'll go first. I am Alec Williams, also known as A.L. Williams. I am the author of Immortal Scars. That's available on Amazon under ebook and paperback. My second book, Hopeless Scars, is available for pre-order. I'm also looking for ARC reviewers for Hopeless Scars, so if you want to, just hit me up. My links are below. And I'm also looking for beta readers for Shameful Scars, which is Scars 3. That should start sometime in March.
Next.
That person.
Point to space. I am Chloe Alice Balkin, and I write a bunch of steamy, smutty paranormal romance stuff. You can find me all over Amazon. And I don't know. I'm also a cake decorator. I actually don't need people right now, so I'm sorry. I wish I had beta reads out there to pitch to people, but I don't. So thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Hey, at least you pointed the right direction.
I did. I remembered based on your
I should have a TED Talk.
I'm Meadow Lamoreaux. I am an author tuber, kind of, and I host my live streams every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. and I am the author of the Gatekeeper series, and I'm looking for beta readers probably at the end of April if anybody's interested. Yay.
Yay.
Cool. And that will be all of us signing off. And we'll catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.
Bye, everybody.